Afternoon, everyone. I'm going to call the regular council meeting to order at 5 p.m. April 12th, 23. We respectfully acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the unceded traditional territory of the Secwepemc. Approval agenda. Recommendation that adoption of the parks regulation amending bylaw number 1034/2023 be added as a late item under item 7C, and that the regular council meeting agenda for April 12th, 2023 be approved as amended. Could I get a mover on that? Councillor Evans, Councillor Rich. The reason that I added this bylaw to be added as a late item tonight is because we did the third reading 2 weeks ago. So, and we thought that it would come back to be adopted today, but just received a letter from IH saying that our bylaw was good to go. So I thought that it was a bit of time sensitive because we are going into spring and I'd like our bylaws in place. And I think council feels the same way prior to people arriving and the parks getting busy. So that's the reason that I added this as a late item. So now, are there any questions or concerns? I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you. Carried. Adoption of minutes. Recommendation of the minutes of the regular council meeting held on March 22nd, 2023 be adopted. Could I have a mover? Councillor Bushel, Councillor Beach. Any discussion of those? All in favor? Carried. Public and statutory hearings, none of those. Delegations, anti-whistle application, James Moon from Silver Sands RV Resort. Is James online? Hello, James. Is he on there? Don't see his name. Thanks. Do we have a number for him?
We have another delegation.
Okay, well, we'll go to the next delegation and then we'll go back to James. So our second delegation is the RW Broom Bridge Project. Sheena Thomas and Debbie Murray from Shuswap Villas Strata Council are here. And Sheena and Debbie, if I could get you two up to the podium there and share your story with us.
No.
Is this on? Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Sheena Thomas. This is Debbie Murray. We are here representing the Shuswap Villas, which is a 1-unit strata on top of the mountain overlooking the Shuswap Lake, directly above the Broom Bridge and 4-lane project. So thank you for your 15 minutes of time. We'll try and get through this as soon as we can. We're here today because we're concerned about the effects of the Broom Bridge 4-lane project on our properties. So I'm just going to go right into it. You guys have a package. We do have an email correspondence that we've been talking to MOTI with that lists our concerns, but I'm just going to point form them. Debbie will elaborate on one of them, and then we're going to go into talking about what we hope the district can help with. So our first concern is disruption to daily life. So this includes road closure notifications, being late for work, that kind of thing. How are we going to get these notifications, things like that. Traffic noise volume. This is the end of the project. All the trees are being removed in front of our place. So is the overall traffic volume going to be increased? And then construction noise throughout the whole project. We are literally on top of the rocks on top of the highway. So that jackhammering and that construction noise is going to be very prominent for us for the whole project. The effect of the value and revenue on our properties. So I won't go into too much detail, but loss of income revenue. We do have short-term rentals up there that would be affected by, closures or noise, things like that. And then an overall property value decrease. I won't go into detail about that. It's in the notes. We're concerned about our home, foundation, property, and other damages. So As an example, there's gonna be blasting, the rocks are gonna be moving around, there's gonna be movement of the earth, we're worried about our foundation, windows, frames, that type of thing. Another, one of our biggest concerns is our driveway. So our driveway is private, we maintain it, it's 750 meters long, it goes straight uphill. So Debbie is gonna talk a little bit about that. So we have some driveway impact concerns, as Sheena mentioned. Blasting damage is primarily the majority of our concerns regarding our driveway with relation to the foundation and the asphalt. Due to the potential of large rocks, we have a rock face that's right beside our driveway, similar to the highway. And so we anticipate some large rocks because we already have seasonal rock falling in the spring right now. So we anticipate some large rock falling onto the driveway and potentially causing damage to the asphalt. And we're also concerned about the long-term as well as the short-term damage in regards to erosion from the blasting that's below it, because it's the proximity to the blast area and the driveway that twists and turns up is very close. Our driveway maintenance is already very costly to the strata in the winter, as we're the sole source of maintenance for it, and the plowing and sanding of it is taxing on our budget. And so we're concerned that the damage, although we've been assured that we have options for restitution to that, we're concerned about that, and that we wouldn't get the restitution in a timely manner or to the degree that would be required to repair and maintain the road, especially over long-term erosion concerns. And also the immediacy of having large rocks removed, especially if they're blocking access to it, which impacts us and the district. Okay, so that's just kind of a quick overview of our concerns. How can the district help us, or how can you liaison for us is what we're going to go into next. So first of all, we're hoping all of our concerns can be documented. So that's happening today, and that you can be our advocate. So if you see an opportunity, stand up for us, take that opportunity. We are really hoping to solidify a direct contact with the district, with MOTI, and with their contractors, someone who we can actually reach out to if we have concerns, questions, notifications, and things like that. And we want to, we're hoping somehow it can be put into place that we get responses in a timely manner. You know, like if we have a rock call today, we don't want to deal with it next week, kind of thing. So having that put in place ahead of time, that you kind of had to speak to that a little bit. We've been assured that the contractor is the one that will be communicating with us with regards to all the aspects of the project. And we're hoping that in the event that this doesn't occur or doesn't occur in a timely manner, that perhaps the district, which we're assuming has fairly consistent communication throughout the project, will be able to communicate with us as well. And we're not concerned about duplication of the communication. We're more concerned about actually receiving it and receiving it in a timely manner. So we hope that the district can put a plan in place when the project communication happens to you, that you'd share that with us as well. So we're in that information loop, and there's no delays in it being third party or not occurring at all. So we have sort of sourced some legal advice just on our rights to do with this. And we understand that the contractors, MOTI, they're not obligated to provide any of their working assessments to us. So we have to do our own pre, during, and post assessments. But what we'd like from the district is if you guys receive assessments from them, that be forwarded on to us if at all possible, so that we don't have that pocket expense, and so that we're in the loop. So that would be super helpful. And yeah, so just trying to obtain these assessments on our behalf. And then Deb's going to talk a bit more about other things. Those assessments were indicated in the correspondence that we received from MOTI. And we also detailed them in our response, specifically requesting them. So you can reference what assessments we would be interested in trying to obtain from those documents. The other couple of points that I'm going to address of our wish list with the district is Some compensation perhaps for the use of the private driveway, not necessarily from the district, but in advocating on our behalf related to the project. To help offset some of the maintenance costs that might fall on us if things like the rock removal isn't timely, or if it's considered not sufficient enough to have a really timely response, such as large rocks, of smaller debris and things that create a hazard on the road for vehicle traffic and for the district traffic that travels up there. Just to elaborate on that compensation, or you being our liaison on behalf of that. Again, it's a private driveway. We pay for all maintenance, and it has already been accessed and used by the contractors of the project without our permission. The second is, or I guess it'd be the third. We would ask for some sort of a written commitment that the driveway will be left in the same condition as it currently is once the project is completed, which would have a life potentially of 2 to 3 years, if not longer. And so any long-term damage or erosion would be left for us once the project is concluded. So we would like some commitment that compensation will, or restitution would be able to occur.
And not only for the driveway, for the houses and the foundation as well.
At any of our property.
So hopefully that kind of summarizes it up. Hopefully we're under 15 minutes.
Council, thanks, Sheena. Thank you, Debbie. Council, do you guys have any questions for Sheena and Debbie? Councillor Evans.
Thank you, and you're way under 15 minutes. Good job. I'm just curious, if I may, through the chair, ask Daryl, is that a road? Is the driveway a public road? Like it's a driveway, or is it a road that anybody can go up and down? That's just a question.
Through the chair, it's a private driveway. It's
The only other person who has permission permanently to use it is the city to access the reservoir.
Gotcha.
And
Thank
it
you.
uses it weekly to service the reservoir that's at the top of High Mountain.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Bushnell.
Yeah, through the chair. Yeah, thank you very much, Debbie and Sheena. Yeah, kind of deja vu for me. I live next door to Bayview, so I went through 5 years of blasting, and my wife and I, and we had, it's tough to see. It's great to see progress, but it's tough to live through it for that long. And it was a long development, and you're gonna, be involved in it probably for a couple of years anyways. But yeah, it would be nice to see some support from highways or from the contractor, because we did have window panes that actually did break the seals, and we left them for a while until they all started to go. But it takes a long period of time to see some of that problems that arise, even though they do bring in their monitors when they blast and they put them right next to your home. You don't really have any access to that. So that's, we had no records to go on, so we couldn't really go back to them, although the development went bankrupt at the time. But, just to do your homework before, make sure you take lots of photos, and every, there have, photos of their windows before and after, and then protection for the rocks. And I know your road is a very critical. I mean, if you were ever to have a problem with that road, you have no other way in or out. And that's very critical for you guys to make sure that the road doesn't start to, fracture or fall away in the long term, for sure. So yeah, I support, I can't speak on behalf of all council, but we support the building, but we also support our residents too up there. And you guys are great residents for the community, and we want to help you.
Councillor Bailey.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming to council. I certainly didn't really think through these impacts. I've been up there, and I know the area, and it's nice to get information on the impacts. So maybe just a couple of questions. I see that they've given you a formal notice that they're going to expropriate land, and you've, I think, brought up this issue about access on your road. Was there anything that they came to an agreement with you on about, obviously it's a private piece of property. They should be paying you something to access your road. I'd say that's only fair. But have they come back to you and said anything along those lines?
Well, there's been no indication of, or even suggestion that there'd be any level of compensation at all.
So they just assume that they're going to continue using your private driveway and private property to go ahead and do the work that they need to do.
Yes, we anticipate there's a likelihood that there would be some large equipment as well, especially this season. They've indicated that they're going to be using, removing and relocating utility lines in the area. So we expect that there will be considerable amount of traffic on our road.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks, Councillor. Thank you. Councillor McCabe.
Sorry, I just want to add, the only funds that were provided to us was when the expropriation notification was served to some of the property owners. It wasn't served to all, but there was a $10 land expropriation check that was issued for those people that received the notification.
Councillor McCabe.
So a couple of things maybe we could offer is before you leave, establish a contact point for the district. Probably maybe our CAO or whoever our CAO might delegate that to. So you have a direct line of communication for that. Ministry of Transportation is infamous for everybody signing non-disclosure agreements or confidentiality agreements. So if they do share information with us, we might be restricted on being able to share that with you. We'll try to avoid signing any confidentiality agreements or non-disclosure agreements, but they typically don't share information unless you do. So anything we can share, I think we have supported council that we would share. At the bottom of the road, do you have a sign saying private driveway?
We do, yes.
Yeah. Maybe get a bigger one.
Quite large now, yeah.
Okay. So I would suggest videotaping your road and videotaping all the foundations inside and outside of your structures. With date timestamps on them. So you have a before and after video. And then provide a copy of that to the DOT before they start. We have a noise bylaw, so there wouldn't be any drilling or blasting or any work outside of our noise bylaw. I think that's, what is that, 10 in the evening? 9?
I don't know.
Or 7. I think it's 7 to 9 or 10, I'm not sure, but so yeah, we could make sure that there's no noise outside of our noise bylaw. And that includes no noise on Sunday, I believe. So if they want to work 7 days a week, they would need permission from us to work on the Sunday, I believe. Staff maybe can check on that. Yeah, that's all I can think of. That we could help. We could be an advocate, but you're within the district of Sycamore, but you're a private drive and a private complex, so we could advocate, but we wouldn't have a lot of authority. We're working with them on the main line, of course, the Broom Bridge project itself. We've been in contact with them since 2018. They've had 5 different project managers since this project has started. The last one hung in there along with Jennifer Stites. And we're in direct communication with her and the project manager, so. But yeah, they'll delegate their responsibility to the contractor, and then the contractor will have direct contact with you. Like I say, anything we get that we can share, we will.
Thanks, Councillor McCabe. Pam, could I get you to turn your mic?
I tried.
You're just giving.
Councillor Ridge.
Thank you for coming. I know the property, my uncle actually built it, so spent lots of time there. I would suggest, or maybe one thing we can do, and I'm not sure Kelly or is that Brett take a look at it, and that we make sure that MOTI is aware that we do have residents up there, and that we do always have access for ambulance and fire. So if there is at any time while they're working, that people can get in and out if there's an emergency. And that would be, I think, something that maybe Brett can kind of take a look and let us know how that, and perhaps that's something we can do, and keeping that open, because I think that's very important.
As well as a schedule for closures.
100%.
Absolutely. Sheena, what are they using when they access your private driveway? What are they going back and doing right now?
Well, there's survey stakes,
They've done some core sampling and surveying.
surveying, as well as, like she said, not all of us got our expropriation notice, so they have posted notices using our driveway and our property.
So Kelly, I guess I'm gonna turn to you or maybe Daryl and see if we can advocate, support this group, how we do it, if it's a matter of speaking to Jennifer Stites instead of the folks mentioned here, so that she's aware, because she's aware of other projects that are going to be affected by this as well. So maybe you can share what we can do.
Yes, most definitely. So we do have regular meetings with Jennifer Stites, and she gives us updates, and Daryl's in those as well. So, and we have other concerns in areas with the blasting and stability. So this is definitely on our radar, and we will make sure that we advocate on your behalf. We have our concerns all over that area, so we will be doing our best and working with them closely. So if there's anything related to that, we'll make sure that we have your contact information, and we'll be in touch as things progress.
Perfect.
Are you able to provide us a direct person to talk to, would it be Daryl or with the district?
Yeah, we'll get back to you on that. We'll get back to you.
Yeah. That's from Cave.
Yeah, they should ask permission to, they have to ask permission to access private property, and so they're negligent in not doing so. But they can also just give notice, because under the Transportation Act, which one of the strongest piece of legislation in BC is the Transportation Act. So, but they should give you notice, they should compensate you, and they should try asking first. And if you say no, then they would just say, well, we're going to do it anyhow, and they have the authority under the Transportation Act, but should be compensated for that access. Even if there's no damage to the road or any occurred additional maintenance cost. Yeah.
Is there some information that could be shared with us? What would be a marketable or market price type of compensation? If we wouldn't really
Well,
have
I
any.
think you've been in touch with some private consultants, and you mentioned Darren Lincoln. He would be a good person to check on that. Good reference, good resource.
I guess my next question is, they've been dealing, or letters coming from Jessica Taylor, who's the manager of property services from OTI. Should they be perhaps in touch with Jennifer Stites as the consultant? Does anyone think that we should be letting Jennifer know? Sheena, have you guys been in touch with Jennifer?
Not by.
Sorry.
The correspondence, the three letters that were in the agenda package for this evening are the sole correspondence that we've had.
That's what
Jessica Taylor, she's been, Jennifer was CC'd in on those correspondence, but she hasn't responded.
Okay. All right. Well, leave it with us, and we will do what we can, of course. And as Malcolm had some really good advice, make sure you video everything, send it to them and make sure that, yeah, maybe that sign's a little bit bigger, but yeah. Thank you guys very much for sharing with us, and we will do what we can for you. And I think we're going to get back to you.
Perfect.
We'll get back to you.
Is there a chance for anyone on the Zoom meeting to contribute?
We will be taking questions at the end. So if you want to just sit tight, we will have a question period at the end.
Okay, appreciate that.
No
Thank you.
worries. Thank you. Okay, so moving forward, let's see if we can move back to anti-whistle application, James. Is James Moon on Zoom?
He is on Zoom at this time.
Okay. James, can you unmute?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, we can. Make sure you speak nice and quiet, loud.
Okay, I do have a few words to say about this whole thing, as to how we came about to making a proposal and everything, so, sorry for my delay getting on here. The computer decided to update itself twice. So, and I started 5 minutes before time, but anyway, that's par for the course with my technology. So, thank you for letting me attend this meeting for starters. And I'll get right into the issue. The train horn it's pretty loud and it can be pretty annoying, especially if you're outside talking to somebody either in the resort or downtown or wherever. So, so that's the thing that we are pursuing here is anti-whistling. And I have some bullets I just jotted down to myself this afternoon, so I'd like to run through them, unless there's some questions up front on the documentation I already provided.
No, that's fine, James. Why don't you do your presentation and then council will ask you questions after.
Okay. Just a minute. Do you want to see me? Just give me a second here. Get the video going. Okay, this is me. First thing is the background on this. My wife and I became owners in 2010 in Silver Sands Resort. And from time to time, I do have a railway background. And so from time to time, some of the owners have talked to me about the whistling. And I understood at the time, talking to others, probably the developer, that an application had been made back probably 10, 15 years ago. And at that time, the requirement was to add gates to that crossing. Otherwise, which would be several $100,000. So it was dropped at that time. However, in my railway work, I became aware that Transport Canada changed those rules a few years back. I don't remember how many, probably about 3 years back. And so I knew that, and you know, from time to time we talked with other owners, and they always mention it. But this past summer, there's one owner that was particularly excited about all this, and he came to me and says, "Well, who do I need to contact? How do we do this? Do I need to phone CP? What do I need to do?" I says, "Well, Transport Canada has the whole process on the website. You can look at it, or I can get it for you." So I dug up all that, and the process which you have there is part of it, but there's also several other rules in regards to protection, gates or not, and all that stuff. I dug all that out, and I proposed it to the Strata Council that we should move ahead and apply for anti-whistling. And so, yeah, the Strata Council said they were kind of busy right now, hiring a new caretaker and all that. So it's quite a bit of work, so we just soon wait. I says, "No problem, I'll do all the work for you." You know, writing the letters, do the research, all that, which I did. And eventually we did a survey through the strata of the owners, and we ended up with a 94% approval to vote yes for anti-whistling. And that was completed in December. After that, I actually thought, well, I better check with Transport Canada and CP Rail to see if there's any other little wrinkles we're not aware of here. I talked to Transport Canada. They said, as long as the automatic crossing protection meets the rules that are, that they've actually documented, that the protection was indeed safe enough for anti-whistling. Now, when I talked to CP Rail, there was a little bit of a hiccup there because, you know, they know all about anti-whistling process and all that, and their procedure now is that they insist on a safety assessment. This is not something that Transport Canada insisted on, but CP insists on it. A one-time safety assessment, which is probably around $10,000, plus an annual insurance coverage of about $500. So that's about it, other than, you know, it looks to me like it's a benefit to all our Silver Sands owners and all the other people within earshot of that crossing protection whistling. So we think it's a good idea that that Sycamoose take it to the next step. So that's what all I have, unless there's questions based on that or the other documents.
Okay, thanks, James. Council, do you have any questions? Councillor Rich?
Through the chair, would we be paying the $10,000 assessment as the town, and then who covers the insurance?
Well, that's excellent questions, and that would be, I have the same questions, and that's why we need to discuss it. Certainly, my preference and the owner's preference would be for the town to pay both things. However, I mean, that's not my call. Like, it seems to me it's a benefit to everybody within earshot, and there's a lot of taxpayers there. So I would vote for the city funding both, but of course I'm biased.
So I do think there is a case of the CSRD out east of Sycamoose where the residents didn't want the train whistle. So I think CSRD or CP charged insurance and CSRD collected it. And I think, I remember this story, and Bianca, you reminded me tonight that there is a way to do this, but it's a matter of tax, and it's not the district. It wouldn't be the district or the CSRD paying for that. I think it is the individual property owner in your strata that would do that. So I'm going to just, Council, do you have any more questions? Because what I'd like to do is, okay, go ahead, Councillor McCabe.
Yeah, I mean, that train goes right by our beach park too. And that train whistle interrupts our enjoyment of the beach parks. I live on Capel Street, so on the far end of the south end of town on Capel, and I hear the train whistle there too. Personally, I've always wanted that whistle to stop. When I first got in council 8 years ago, I inquired into it, but like you said, the rules were different then and stuff. I think it would be who's ever leading the applicant to probably come up with the $10,000, possibly on an annual basis. I think the insurance would have to be not just save harmless Sands RV park, but also all users that access our beach park through that access, and Sycamoose Sands, and as well as our nature park access. So I don't see it unreasonable that if we pursue this forward, that we perhaps might cover the insurance costs, because we'd have to have ourselves saved harmless as well as a municipality. We would need insurance if this did move forward. That's just my thoughts. That's not council's thoughts, but that's where I'm at with it.
Thanks, Councillor McCabe. Anyone else? Counselor Bailey?
Yeah, I was just gonna suggest maybe to have staff go in and investigate a little bit more, because there's some things that CP may say like, no, this is not gonna, there's too many people around there, it's not gonna go forward. But so maybe we can do a little bit of investigation on a staff level and then have this come back for information to council.
Thanks, Counselor Bailey. I'm leaning towards that. Counselor Beach?
Through the chair, I just wanted to say that I think, as Councillor McCabe has said, it's reasonable for the town to perhaps try and the whole town, because we all listen to the train whistle. They're a little bit closer, but as you pointed out, the beach park is there, the trails are there. So it's disruptive to all of us. So yeah, I think we need to look into it, but I would be leaning in the direction of, sort of a general responsibility to help out with the train whistle costs.
Thanks, Counselor Beach. Counselor Bushel?
Thank you, through the chair. I agree. It's a town problem. I think we do have a contact. Kelly, is Mike Lavecchio is he still our contact with them? Do you know?
We dealt with him probably 5 or 6 years ago, so I don't know if he's still there or not.
Yeah, well, we did have a contact with them, so we should, maybe rewrite them a letter or write them an email and just say we want to, start the process and what is the process, and yeah, see what the costs are, and because we're kind of already almost finalized the budget, and yeah, that's another $10,000, but I think we should start working on it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks. I don't know if it'll make the cut for this year's budget, but I do think I'm going to put it back to staff like it suggested. And let's do some research. I do remember when Malcolm, what you're referring to, and we got onto council, we requested a shorter horn. Yes, it wasn't a no whistle. It was a shorter one coming through town in the middle of the night, just one toot, and they would let us. They allowed that for a while without the crossings at Canby South Road. So they did allow that for a while, but then I think people change and engineers change, and before you know it, they're blasting through Sycamoose again on the horn. So how about if we just do some research as council and see what our options are, and we will get back to Mr. Moon. Yes, Sarah?
I'm just confirming, I believe Councillor Bailey put forward a motion to direct staff.
Oh, sorry.
Is there a seconder on that and then a vote?
Sure, I can move that.
I'll second.
Okay. Do you want to read the motion? Please, Sarah.
Through the chair, so the motion was for staff to investigate the process and to present the information back to council.
Perfect. And Councillor Bush will second that. Any more discussion on that? Malcolm? Go ahead.
Thank you. I wonder if we could expand the scope to include both crossings, so maybe the $10,000 could cover both and the 500 insurance could cover both, because it'd be fairly redundant to have it stop at one crossing and then a half a kilometer down the road, or like down the road, there's the whistles blowing for the next crossing. So might as well I'm suggesting scope to both crossings.
Okay, thanks. Councillor McCabe, Councillor Rich.
Through the chair, I am all about staff investigating it, but I think we also have to remember that the whistle there is for safety. And it is to keep our alive, and we know that the whistles actually do keep people safe and alive. That people have bought knowing that the tracks are there, and that there's a lot of tourists that go back and forth that maybe don't have the same comprehension of what a train can do to you if you come in contact with one. So I'm 100% for the investigation, but the train whistle is there for a reason. And we also have a lot of guests through Sycamoose between the two RV parks and with our beach park that are kept safe by those whistles.
Thank you, Councillor Rich. I agree. And as far as I mentioned the noise at the beach park, whistle or not, the train at the beach park is deafening. So that's another point that you're never going to fix, whistle or not. So however, any other comments? All in favor? Oh, are you in favor? Or you need comment?
No, I'm in favor. That's fine.
Okay. Councillor Bailey, are you in favor?
No, I was just in favor voting.
Okay, let's go. Can we vote? All carried. Staff will look after, thank you, Mr. Moon.
Well, yeah, a couple comments, if I may.
Okay.
One, that other Salska Road, did it not happen? They never stopped the whistling there? Or?
They did.
No, I think you know what? I don't think it stopped there because I think when I go through there in the morning, I think they're on it as well. So I don't think that the arms coming down have stopped the whistling at all.
Yeah, I was just wondering because if it has, well, then we're still only talking to one crossing, not two, right? But anyway, certainly it's best probably for the city to stop the whistling on them both. Chances are CP, they never miss their pound of flesh no matter what. So chances are you're gonna be stuck for the same cost for each. And the cost that I got talking to the actual individual at CP that you need to deal with, he said it would be about 10 grand for the safety assessment and about $500 for the insurance, which sounds less than the one they did at Salzburg Road, was $600 and some dollars that I understood. But anyway, so certainly research. It sounds good to me. I can actually give you the CP contact if that helps you. Transport on the safety issue, there's no question. It does add an element of safety, and that's why it's there to start with. But Transport Canada has deemed it safe enough for anti-whistling under the circumstances, because, you know, somebody walking across that road or in the vicinity, they're going to hear the bells, you know, when the train comes, those bells right at the crossing start ringing right away, and they are for pedestrians. That's their purpose, and they'll still be in effect. So, and many other municipalities have done the same thing and probably worse circumstances than Sycamus. But so anyway, Transport Canada deems it safe enough, and so does CP once they go through their assessment and all that. I doubt there'd be too many surprises with the assessment, but that's always a possibility.
For sure. Okay, thanks, James. What we'll do is we'll do some homework and see what the district of Sycamus can dig up for you there and the community. Thank you.
Excellent.
Just a quick one.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, through the chair. So if I read through that, so if CP says it's feasible and you just got to go through the process, the safety assessments and what have you, they'll probably give you a high level, say yes or no before the safety assessment, and then go through the safety assessment if it's potentially feasible. But then it requires a support letter from the local government, whether it's a regional district or municipality. Is that correct? Do you remember seeing that in your correspondence you were looking into?
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's we'll do our homework. Okay. All right, let's move on. Okay, thanks, Malcolm. Okay, so bylaws and policy, Growing Communities Fund Reserve bylaw number 103620 or 2023. Bianca recommended that the District of Sycamus Growing Communities Funds Reserve Establishment bylaw number 1036/2023 be given first, second, and third reading this 12th day of April 2023. Can I get a mover? Councillor Rich, Councillor Evans, Bianca, you have the floor.
This is a pretty quick one. So new funding given out by the province for the Growing Communities Fund for 1.7 million. One requirement for that funding is that we put it in a reserve fund, restricted reserve fund. And then when we pull out through our budgeting process, then we can do that through our financial plan. So we put it there. There's some there's a pretty general list of items that we can use it for, which is fantastic. But they just want us to be very accountable on what we use it for. And yeah, we'll do that through our financial plan process.
Perfect, thank you. Council, any questions? All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Bianca. Okay, zoning amendment application number 23-051-Z926 Seed Frontage Road. Recommendation that the District of Sycamore zoning amendment bylaw number 1030-2023 be adopted this 12th day of April 2023. Can I get a mover? Councillor McCabe, seconded by Councillor Bushel. Scott, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor Anderson. I really don't have too much of an update other than that the Ministry of Transportation approved the zoning bylaw amendment. So now council can adopt the zoning bylaw. This is for the special regulation to allow the mobile home instead of the RV on the property on Seed Frontage Road.
Correct. They're having a park model built or something, are they not?
I'm not sure. I think it's a Z240 mobile home.
Council, any questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, Parks Regulation amending bylaw number 1034-2023 adoption. This is a late item that I brought forward today. Felt it was a bit time sensitive. This is the bylaw that prohibits illicit drugs in our parks. So we did get a letter from IH. I don't think I need to read all of this, do I? We did get a letter and we are good to move forward with our bylaw. So the reason I brought it today was we received our letter, but the bylaw was pushed back to 2 weeks from now. I wanted to bring it forward. I think that as we're getting busy as a community, we really needed to get our bylaws in place and an understanding of there will be no drugs in our beach park. So recommendation that council formally receive the correspondence submitted by medical health officer, Dr. Jonathan Mallow, in response to the District of Sycamore Parks regulation, amending bylaw number 1034-2023, which was given third reading on March the 22nd, 2023. Can I get a mover? Councillor Evans, Councillor Rich. Does anyone want to have a discussion regarding letters? Any questions on this? All in favor? Carried. Recommendation that the District of Sycamore Parks regulation amending bylaw number 1034-2023 be adopted this 12th day of April 2023. This is now, could I get a mover on this? Councillor Bushel, Councillor Evans. Any discussion on our bylaw? I am going to make one comment, and that is other communities are now starting to bring their bylaw changes forward right now. So when we started this, I think everyone was a little concerned as to how to make a move, but we just forged forward, and with our community support, we are leaders in municipalities right now. So all those in favor? Carried. Okay, staff reports, development permit number 23-112-DP 1201 Shuswap Ave. Recommendation that council authorize and issue a development permit number 23-112-DP for facade upgrades to the existing building located at lots 1 and 2, District Lot 452, Kamloops Division, Yale District Plan 23105. Can I get a mover? Councillor Beach, seconded by Councillor Evans. Scott, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor Anderson. So this is an application for a development permit. It's at 1201 Shuswap Ave. That's the After Dark Distillery. I believe Dean is online. If you have any questions, he might be able to answer them. So the application is for the property at 1201 Shuswap. You can see the air photo here, the black outline of the two properties that the distillery is on. There was a previous development variance permit to expand the building to the north. Because it's split by the property line, a variance is required for a 0 lot line setback. And then in 2018, there's also a development permit application when they expanded to the south, when they added the patio area to the south. You can see the photo of the property. Telephone poles a little bit in the way, but they plan on redoing the front facade of the building with an artificial facade of a Western style. Here you can see the drawing provided, where it would kind of appear like like the front of a Western building with board and batten design. And then the development permit also addresses outdoor lighting and landscaping. We did refer this to the usual referral agencies. The Planning and Development Committee recommended approval, and we had no concerns from any of the other respondents, which were all internal. Staff's recommending that the development permit be issued. It'll probably look pretty good on Main Street and attract more people to visit the distillery, and positive for the town.
Great, thank you. Council, does anyone have any questions or concerns? All right, we'll call the question. All those in favor? Carried. That was easy. Easy button. Okay, recommendation that council authorize and issue development permit. Which one am I on here on the bill? Council authorize and issue development permit number 22245 DP for the property legally described as Lot 5, District Lot 496, Kamloops Division, Yale Division, Plan 2936, located at 521 DeBell Street for a single unit dwelling. Could I get a mover? Councillor Bushel, Councillor Evans. Scott, do you want to take that away?
And Mayor Anderson, thank you. So this is an application of development permit. It's a watercourse development permit on Mara Lake. And they're looking to demo an old house and rebuild a new house in the same location. Here's air photo of the property. It's the red house right in the middle. You can kind of see the 521 against the red roof. So the house at the front would be demolished and then replaced. Because the property is within 30 meters of the water course, they needed a QEP to do a report to be submitted, accepted by the province. That's occurred. And so that now the council is free to issue a development permit. You can kind of see, I should have made this drawing a little bit bigger, but you can see the gray square is where the house is proposed to be. And just in front of that gray square is a blue line that represents the 15-meter setback from the lake. So the house is outside that 15-meter setback from the lake. And so the development permit would speak to the QEP report. And then just during construction that they'd make sure that stormwater, silt fence, and that trees are protected. And then a post-development report would be required as part of the province. So those conditions are not reported, become part of the development permit. I did refer this out. This actually went to the Planning and Development Committee in September of 2022. They recommended issuance of the permit. Was referred to Splatson, and they requested prior development and archaeological branch be consulted to manage the risk. So this is pretty normal where we refer it to Splatson, and it's our opportunity to make it aware that people are doing developments. But if you do find anything, then it's your responsibility to stop and go through the proper procedure. Ministry of Forest Lands just recommended that QEP report does go through the RAR process, which occurred. And no other concerns from the different agencies, which were again all internal. Staff's recommending that this development permit be issued. Another positive, getting a building. I think they're actually adding a second dwelling as well to the property, and it meets the conditions of the riparian areas regulations. So staff's recommending that the development permit be issued.
Awesome. Council, any questions, comments? Everyone's good. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay, moving along. Partner agreement with Glenn's Water Taxi Towing Services. Recommendation that the mayor and corporate officer be authorized to enter into a partnering agreement with Glenn's Water Taxi for the provision of bylaw enforcement and towing service this 12th day of April 2023. Could I get a mover? Counselor Evans, Counselor Beach. Miss Sarah, you take it away.
Thank you through the chair. So under the community charter, section 21 allows local governments to assist business by entering into a partnering agreement in exchange for that business providing a service to the municipality. In 2021, Glenn's Water Taxi reached out to the district and a partnering agreement was established. So since 2021, he has been providing services of bylaw enforcement as a contractor to the district and towing services at the public wharves, following the public wharf regulation bylaw. So that the agreement was renewed for an additional term and now has since expired. And so he's come back and we had a discussion, myself, Glenn Moyer and our bylaw enforcement officer. And based on the recommendations from our bylaw enforcement officer who has reviewed the effectiveness of the agreement and the services provided, the agreement's been amended to reflect those. And that is what is being presented to council for their consideration.
Okay, council, any comments or questions? Councillor McCabe.
Thank you. So just a Reader's Digest, what's the difference between the old agreement and the new agreement? What are the main changes? Is it the price or the level of service? And second question, how often did we use him in the old contract? Did he actually tow anybody or?
So in speaking with our bylaw enforcement officer, I believe there was one situation in which a vessel was towed. The hours have been amended. John Moore, our bylaw officer, he feels that the hours between 10 and 11 p.m. because we don't allow moorage on the dock between 10 and 7 a.m., 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. He feels that within that hour, he would be able to identify any vessels that are mooring in violation of the bylaw. But I can just go over, so scheduled surveillance between the hours of 10 and 11, Thursday to Monday on all public wharfs. Glenn's Water Taxi would be required to report and document any vessel illegally moored at a public wharf to our bylaw enforcement officer. And then the towing of any vessel illegally moored at the public wharf as directed by our district's bylaw enforcement officer to the location identified. As well as secure any vessel towed at the location identified with equipment that is provided by the district. And there is a form that John has established as well that will be filled out by Mr. Moyer. When those situations arise, he has to provide photographic documentation. And in exchange, Mr. Moyer, Glenn's Water Taxi is provided with a slip as well as a parking space at Main Street Landing. And if council decides to enter into the agreement, we would be proceeding with signage that lets the public know that he's parked there as a contractor to the district for that service.
Thank you.
Do we, through the chair, do we know the value of the slip in the parking space? If we were renting that, like if I was going down to rent a slip on Riverside?
Well, the Main Street Landing, you wouldn't rent a slip there, but if you were going to rent a slip.
Free boys?
Probably 15, 18 bucks a foot per month.
So
depending on the size
would be how much?
Couple $1,000, $2,500. The benefit to this is the Main Street Landing is used for temporary parking. If somebody wants to come in and go to rent to the grocery store and grab some stuff or rent to the liquor store, it's for the convenience of our residents and our tourists, right? So what's been happening is folks have been parking and using it as their own personal moorage. So that's where we ran into this problem the last few years. So Glenn will now be taking pictures and towing. So, but to Daryl, we need some really good signage down there so that people know that they're not allowed to park there, because we've got some folks that are used to parking there because we haven't enforced it. So that needs to be, and perhaps social media, we could share that out on social media as well. Anyone else have any concerns or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Bushel.
Yeah, no, I think Glenn did a good job from what I could see. It's just, yeah, good signage and good education that no overnight parking, so that they're not, they're not there all the time. So I agree. I agree with this contract.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right, moving right along. Resolutions, recommendation that council approve the district of Sycamoose active transportation network plan prepared by Urban Systems dated March 24th, 2023. Can I get a mover? Councillor McCabe, Councillor Rich. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add or comments? Scott, did you want to?
And thank you, Mayor Anderson. So this is the active transportation network plan. So the main purpose of this plan is we used it when we were looking to get funding for projects, for active transportation projects. So bike lanes and trails, things like that. Document shows that we went out to the community, engaged with them, find out what kind of trails were needed, and then put it together in a plan for grant purposes as well. We got some trail cross sections, things like that we can use when we're going with grants. We can say this is the standard of trail we expect. This is where we expect them. This was considered by the committee of the whole, and there were some updates moving up the Sycamoose to Highway 97 walking path from the bridge to Highway 97 crosswalk. Also adding the boat launch. One of the boat launches, adding a trail from Finlayson to Gill and 2 crosswalks on Highway 97. So those are some of the things that came back from the Planning and Development Committee and members of council. So those have all been included in the project. Yeah, I think we're ready to adopt it, and then we can move forward with the Parks and Trails Master Plan and have that in place, and then we'll have a pretty solid base whenever we're considering parks and trails and any of our planning projects.
Excellent, thank you. Councillor Bushel.
Yes, through the chair, Malcolm brought it up the other day about White Pine Crescent. Scott, as we go, as we grow, can we add to this fairly quickly, just the maps, like if we wanted to add the White Pine Crescent? Because we're widening that in the active transportation plan. Could we just have our consultant just add it and then we update it online every once in a while? Can you do that?
I think we own this now, and the consultant has delivered it. So, but we have all the tools we need to update it.
Okay.
Yeah, that one, I think that one's planned for construction this year. So we'll make sure that one's included in the Parks and Parks and Trails Master Plan as a connection.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll call.
I was gonna say, it's really great, good plan. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Well, is this on our site now, our website?
If you go to today's agenda, it's definitely on the website, but we'll put it, we'll make it so people can find it easy. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Hey, call the question, all in favor? Carried. I can't see Ian, but I think he's pretty sure he's in favor. Okay, moving right along to correspondence. He's gone. I think he left too. Can't see him. All right, correspondence. Council, does anyone want to speak to any of the correspondence presented here? What? Oh, go ahead, Councillor Bushel.
Yeah, through the chair, I just wanted to thank staff, Daryl and his team for getting the green shirt day, the roundabout all lit up for green. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks. So is it for the month, right? Awareness Month, the Lyme Disease Society of Lyme Disease Awareness Month is May. So perhaps we could, in support, like the circle in green. Anyone else? The Federation of Canadian Municipalities Protection of Waterways from aquatic invasive species resolution So we had a resolution that went to FCM. It has now been FCM stamped and is now moving forward. It's not quite worded the way that we wanted, but it is making an impact and making its way into legislation. So that's awesome. That's how that process works. So yay, Sycamoose. It's good to, it's a good feeling to get a resolution all the way to FCM. Okay, anything else? Anyone have any more comments?
Was there that one person in the galley waiting to?
Yeah, we're gonna go into public input right now. Yeah, no worries. No. Okay, we're gonna go to the gallery now. So does anyone have any questions in here? Yes, Mary?
Yes, down at the old bowling alley, the distillery, like they do everything up top notch. And when I did see the design, I was just wondering when that process is taking place, if they discuss the 3 flat roofs with our snow pack that we get here. You know, I just, you know, when you see something like that, you wonder if it's gonna withhold the snow.
Yeah, okay, so go ahead. Go ahead, Councillor Bushel.
Okay, through the chair, Mary, that's a facade, so it's not a flat roof. So they originally put in for an application to build a second story on there, and they were gonna put the residence up top. But just with timing and cash flow and things like that, they decided just to do a facade. So it's just actually a little block out on the building. So it's not like the roof isn't flat or anything. So it's just gonna,
For them because
Yeah.
they do everything up so nice.
yeah. So what their plan was is just to, take the tin down, and they're gonna do the west end of the building and do a facade. And when they do their upper residence, whenever, they will build that facade into the, probably with a peak, something like that. But thanks for the concern for sure.
Hey, any more questions? Folks on Zoom? We must have did a really good job.
Lady on there.
What's that?
There was a lady that wanted to.
No longer. Was a lady, I think she had questions. I think she had questions about villas. So it wasn't that important. So she'll call tomorrow.
Her questions might have gotten.
Her questions might have gotten answered. Okay, so we're gonna make a motion to adjourn then. Recommendation that the regular council meeting for April 12th, 2023 be adjourned at 6:10. Can I get a mover? Councillor Bushel, Councillor Rich, all in favor? We're done. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks for being a champion for our lakes too.
You're welcome.
Good, it's good.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot.
I will be.
Who
I
knew?
didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't either. Now I'm reading about it late at night.
Okay, what thing?
Nothing.
Thanks very much, everyone.